Good evening. I'm just here to ask for the evening of October 31st. Jefferson County Livestock Association would like to use the fairgrounds to put on a tractor pull to benefit. We do 2 scholarships a year to somebody going on to college in an agriculture degree, and then Jefferson County FFA has here recently is their judging teams in their competitions have started doing really well and coming and asking for some donations for travel expenses and stuff like that when some of them had to go to national competitions and stuff. And we at Jefferson County Livestock Association would like to use this as a fundraiser to be able to help them and 4-H kids and the scholarships that we provide, hopefully on an annual basis to be able to help the kids of Jefferson County.
Josh, normally the fair leases from this board, and then you all work with them. Is that
Yeah,
the same relationship?
in the few years past, when we've recently been doing the benefit pools, it's been like a kind of a kick-off to the fair, like the Saturday before the fair starts on Monday or something or whatever, and this kind of
So
all
will
the.
you all be under their umbrella of agreement with them and their insurance and all that stuff? I think that would be the only concern here at the board.
No. But the man coming with the sled, he carries an insurance policy that covers anything and everything that happens on them grounds while that sled's sitting there. So the insurance policy wise, that would cover that.
Yeah, so if we're gonna make an agreement with them instead of the Fairground Association, we'd need to be listed as an additional insured on your insurance policy. So we would need to have that before we proceed.
Okay, before we could even know if we have the ability to use the grounds.
No, I mean, the board can approve it, but before you could proceed with that, we would need to know, we would need to have that insurance policy.
Right,
This
yeah.
is additional insurance.
Yes.
Yeah.
The school board would have to be on there, right?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
I think it's a good idea. I think it helps our kids in this county. That's what I'm here as a board of the students. And I think it's a good idea. I appreciate y'all helping the students get started in this thing. Jumping on here, whatever we need to do.
Mr. Potts, because you review contracts and those things, in this type of event, does this board actually have to approve that as long as he can verify the insurance and that issues, in your opinion, do they need to actually vote on that?
Well,
Or
I
just
think
follow our use of facilities policy?
I would follow that policy, that's correct.
That's pleasure.
Okay, fine. All right, so yes, you have use of the, according to policy, need insurance.
The 2 of us will get with you, Charles.
Okay.
And that's October 31st.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Josh. We'll be in touch.
All right.
Before we move on, it looks like, but anyway, we're going to insert the, if there's any teachers and citizens input before we move on to the rest of our business. All right, first on the sign up to speak to the board is Malcolm, is it Snap? Okay, sorry. Malcolm Snap, if you could come up to the podium, you'll have 3 minutes. State your name and your address and who you represent.
Malcolm Snap, 1522 Brown Avenue over here by Emmanuel Baptist Church. I don't know, as far as I represent, I got a kid in 5th grade over here at the elementary school. The main question that I had wanted to ask, and in no way, would I be attempting to attack anyone personally. They got out of school mid to late March. It was before my kid had her birthday, so we were at home for that. How long after the children were let out of school did the board have the first conversation about people may not want to send them back? Because we talked about that like the first week, as soon as they let the kids out. I turned to my mother and I said, If this isn't over by August, she's not going back. I was just wondering when the county really did, because this first meeting I've ever been to, when did the county or the board or whatever it is address the fact that it's a high possibility that people wouldn't want to send their kids back? I mean, he said we got like 1,800 and some odd kids. That's more than, went to the high school, when I went to high school, up at Morristown West back in the day. So I guess that would be like the first question. When was it first put forward that, hey, we're going to have to do distance learning because some people aren't going to want to come back?
Well, just to speak back, Mr. Snyder, we do not respond in question and answer. We're just here to listen to your concerns, and if you have any kind of concerns that needs to be addressed to Dr. Johnson, then he will reach out to you.
Oh, well, then that would probably be the better scenario then, would be to have Dr. Johnson then reach out and we could do some kind of one-on-one then. Yeah, I wasn't sure how all this was going to operate.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, but that'd be fine. Do I need to provide any kind of, I got the phone number on there. Do you need anything else, email addresses, anything like that? I'll provide whatever information is necessary. Yeah.
I'll be happy to talk.
Okay.
Help you
Hey,
if I can.
that's great. I really appreciate it.
All right, next person who signed up is David Walters. David, if you want to come up and speak to the board, state your name and address.
All right.
and who you represent.
Hello, everybody. My name's David Walters. I ran for school board in the District 2 this year. Came a little short, 500 votes, but that was good for a first time out. Congratulations to Danny and Moose. Some of the concerns, the main concern that I have is about the virtual learning. We had an option at the first of the year to either send our kids back to school when school resumed or do the virtual learning. I live at 815 Workman Road off of Old Dandridge Pike on Stallings Farms. We don't have access to internet out there. I've got a nice home, I've got plenty of room to move, but I don't have cable TV that comes through my area. I've got a huge net satellite up on top of my house. It's like dial-up. You can't do anything with it. I've got Wi-Fi hotspots on 5 telephones that do not work with these laptops that have been issued through the school system at all. So we chose to send our kids back to school. Well, now we're doing these sporadic days of virtual learning. Friday of this past week really caused a hardship on my family that chose to send 3 kids back to school. My wife sat in the parking lot of Patriot Academy for 5 hours and 15 minutes doing homework because you got teachers that threw more homework on them to do on virtual learning day than they would have ever done sitting in a classroom. But they sat in a Suburban in the parking lot and watched everybody come through and get their lunches. That day they had to move different sides of the building because the internet connection kept losing and all that. But for the most part, they had internet connection. But it's the fact they're going to have to go to these schools. And even though I've got a child that's in the 9th grade and one in the 11th grade, and you're saying you might just do the virtual learning, those sporadic days for them, still, they don't drive. They don't have cars to drive. So we still have to take off to take them someplace to do this. And that was ridiculous. 5 hours sitting in a parking lot of a school over there and school personnel coming out checking on them. Of course, they did. Some of the Patriot Academy faculty over there came out and checked on them sporadically and asked them how they were doing because they knew it was a hardship. All over the internet, we saw pictures of people with their seats down the back of their car, kids with potato chips sitting at Russ Strong School, or somebody over at Jefferson, one of the school, elementary or middle, had Wi-Fi access. That was crazy. We just can't do it, especially when you're telling that you have, what, is it 40% of the students in this county don't have access to internet at home? But then you're going to have that one day that you're going to throw in there that those 40% don't have 4 minutes of internet at home, let alone 4 hours. So we're going to have to go to these hotspot places and sit in our cars all day long with our kids. So that's kind of a ludicrous deal that we've got going on. We've got to get something worked out on that. And I don't mind paying for internet. I'd pay the $100, $200, $300 a month so my kids would have it. I just don't have the option for it. It doesn't come to my house. The satellite's on top of the house, but it's pathetic what they got. The second question, the second thing that I've got is about this school issue. I know we're talking about building two new schools. The estimates have come in, $29 million have been thrown out there that you are going to ask for the money to do this with. If you ask anybody that does construction on hotels, school buildings, this and that, which I have, I've done my homework because I wanted to be on the school board this year. That's going to be a low ball figure. You're not going to come in between $10 and $15 million per school. It's going to be more like 15 to 20 million. So you're going to come back asking for more money to the county commission down the line, and that's just inevitable. That's going to happen. The other part of that is you're saying Piedmont's one of those schools that needs to be replaced. It's not inhabitable by students and faculty. They need to be pulled out and a new school built. But then in the same breath, it was made a comment to move the home office staff for the school, the administrative staff down there and put a culinary arts in there. how are you gonna do that if you're getting rid of students and faculty out? How are you gonna bring more people in? That's not justifiable. And then the comment was made that the asbestos issue was gonna cost $1.6 million to get it out of Piedmont and get it out of Jefferson elementary schools. So if you're moving your office staff down, we already know we're on the hook for another $1.6 million. Then you're gonna have to renovate that school inside to make it habitable for you all as administrative staff for the culinary arts. So that's more money you're gonna come to the county commission for later on that I've not heard anybody even talk about yet. So now we're gonna be on the hook for another $2 million, $3 million, $5 million, who knows what that cost is gonna be. So I think that needs to be addressed too, that if you're moving Piedmont out, building them a new school, then that school should probably be just torn down, is what you're saying. But you're not. You're saying you're gonna move other people in, so that's gonna be an additional cost to us as county taxpayers that I've not heard brought up in any meetings throughout the last year and a half. So, okay?
Thank you very much. I believe we've covered the director's report pretty thoroughly. Do you have anything else? Good. Next, there is not a monthly financial report. We're moving on to consent agenda items, which is the approval of the minutes and the monthly policy review. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Jernigan. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Pinkerton. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda item, please raise your right hand. And the motion carries unanimously. Committee reports, we have policy committee, first reading, second reading, or anything. On the next page, we have budget amendments. This is something that we did on a regular basis. There's always a explanation to the budget amendments, and then Mr. Fox will answer anyone's questions. But first, before we do questions, do I have a motion to approve the budget amendments as listed?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Solomon. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Pinkerton. Does anyone have any questions? Mr. Cox?
Yes, and then when we're done with that, if I may back up to the financials just for 1 second. So my comments on the budget amendments, the first one, 141, number 3, that's just carryover money and new money coming in, does not affect fund balance in any way. Number 142, number 3, same thing, new or adjustments to grants, that's on the federal side. I do want to point out number 5, the Tennessee CARES Acts. This is the one that Dr. Johnson was talking about for additional teachers. This is coming from grant money. It will have to be approved, and we've got the request in unofficially with the folks that do that, so it'll have to be approved. If for some reason this doesn't get approved, we'll have to come back and figure out a different way to do this, but right now, the first indication is we can use this money for that. It's very restrictive on what we can use this fund for. And just a correction here on the account numbers there. My fault, I did this. It should be 929 instead of 935 for the object code. And then the revenue account should be 47304. It does not change the amounts. It's just we have to track all these grants in different.
It should be what number, sir?
It should read, the first column should be 929 where it says 935. And the first one, it says revenue account 47301, that should be 47304. The state's requiring us to track each of these funds, and we have several of those in different accounts, so my mistake there. And then on number 141, budget amendment number 1, number 2, strike that. It's a duplication in the wrong fund. It's the same thing, but strike number 2.
I have a question. Do you think that we should approve the Tennessee CARES Act as a separate motion?
I don't think it matters because it's under federal.
Okay. Perfect. Anybody else have any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the budget amendments as listed, please raise your right hand. And the Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the resolution 2020-75-62 surplus, please raise your right hand. And the motion carries unanimously. I believe that during the work session, we discussed the rules of procedure, and we were going to send that to the policy committee so that they could get the language correct with the policy before we vote on it. Is that a unanimous with the board? They agree with that?
Well, I have a question. Don't we have to elect new members to the policy committee, to all these committees?
Well, that's number 5
Okay.
coming up.
Okay.
But yes, we do. Okay? All right, we're going to send rules of procedure to the policy committee. All right, next is the architect contract and funding. Do I hear a motion to approve the Lewis Group contract and funding? I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Jarnigan. All right, motion's on the floor.
Question.
Yes,
Just for clarity, Mr. Potts, the word funding there, is you talking about which pot to pay our half of that out of, is that correct?
That's the way I think what you're voting on.
I just wanted everybody to
And,
go ahead.
and then how about the acceptance of the offer? Does that go with that from county commission?
At the pleasure of the board, I think it could be a separate motion order, all in one, I don't know.
Okay.
okay, so the motion is just to approve Lewis Group as the architect and their contract.
Which is 187.1.
Maybe 75.
Is there any discussion? Okay. Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion to approve Lewis Group as the architect with the contract that's been submitted, please raise your right hand. All those opposed? You abstain?
Yes, I am.
All right. And the motion carries 6 in favor and 1 abstention. All right? Now, y'all gonna have to help me with this funding number. All right, the first motion that needs to be made, I go back, is to accept the money from county commission for this community zone. Is that correct? Yes. All right, so the motion that needs to be made next is to accept county commission's, that's $187,500 for schematic design. Is that correct, language? Okay, do I hear a motion to
Madam
approve?
Chairman, I'd like to make that motion.
Thank you, Mr.
That
Jarnigan.
we as a board accept 187.5.
All right, is there a second?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Solomon. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. And the motion carries unanimously. All right, now,
Last question.
yes,
And that may be where you were at, go, the first motion, is the, which, is that fund, is that our capital, is that right, Mr. Potts? We need to decide what fund that's coming out of.
that's where I'm going now.
Okay.
Okay. First was to approve Lewis Group as the architect, second was to approve county commission's money for $187,500. And now the motion is to designate a fund that the school board will use for the schematic design funding. Okay?
Madam Chairman,
Yes, sir.
do we have that money available in, we'll decide some balance?
can we ask Mr. Potts where he would recommend we take it from? Are we allowed to